Hey guys, I'm Desikan. Today's video is going to be a review on the PAC HD Liquid Foundation. This is one of the most requested videos on my channel. Like every other comment on every other video was to review this foundation. So finally I got my hands on it. So this is the packaging in which the foundation comes in. I got it in the shade 2.3. You get 30 ml of product in this, which is typical of any other liquid foundation. On this side you have all the ingredients, and this foundation is priced at 795 rupees. Which you have to pay a little extra if you're buying it from Amazon. They do have about 50 rupees delivery charges. So it does technically retail for about 840 rupees because you have to pay for shipping. And this foundation is manufactured in China. So when you look at this case, you think that it's going to be sturdy and you can actually travel with it, but it's actually very flimsy and it's very easy to open this. I kind of don't understand the point of this one. Like, you cannot travel with this, it's going to open up. So yeah, this is how the foundation comes in. It's placed like this. So now coming to the packaging of this foundation itself, it comes in this glass bottle, but I would like to mention that this bottle is pretty strong. Like, I dropped it from a great height and it didn't break. So I'm very happy that even though it's glass, it didn't really break off easily. And it does come with this kind of like a stopper on the nozzle, which I don't really like. I wish that they went with the traditional cap so that it was a lot more easier to close the product and to travel with it. This kind of makes it really messy. One thing, it doesn't fit very easily. You have to struggle to put it back in. And another thing is, because this part would have a little bit of excess foundation left, it kind of makes it a little messy. And I got this foundation in the shade 2.3. They have a very good shade selection. Like, they have about, I want to say 20 shades. So the lightest shades are starting with 1 point something, and if you are somewhat of a light medium skin tone, your shade will be 2 point something, and if you are medium skin tones, it will be 3 point something, and if you are of deeper skin tones, it will be 4 point something onwards, and the darkest shade that they have is 5.0. So if you want to take the Maybelline Fit Me foundation for comparison, I am in the shade 310, but it is a little bit dark for me. I can use it when I'm a little more tan, but now that I'm not all that tan, it is a little bit dark for me. So the next lighter shade would be my shade. So if you are around my shade, I would recommend going for 2.5. Also, because I know a lot of you guys would be confused what your shade is, I've tried my best to match a lot of Maybelline Fit Me foundations to the PAC foundations. I will leave that entire shade range in the description box below, along with the links to where you can find this foundation. So make sure you check that out. I cannot be 100% accurate because I've not looked at the foundation for myself, and I don't really have all the shades in both Maybelline Fit Me and PAC. But because Maybelline Fit Me is affordable and I think a lot of people do have it, I think that's a good standard option to keep it. If you live in Bangalore, Mumbai, Pune, Delhi, I think they have a store. So you can actually go ahead and check out the foundation for yourself, like try it out on your face. So if you now look at the ingredients of this foundation, so the third ingredient is trimethicone. The fourth ingredient is dimethicone. So this is actually a silicone based foundation. So now coming to the consistency of this foundation, as you guys can see, it's not very runny, but it's not very thick as well. But when you start feeling it, you can definitely feel a little bit of that silicone texture in it, and that works really well on the skin. The reason that a lot of people prefer a silicone based foundation is, one, normal to dry skin people can use it because silicone is kind of like a heavy molecule, so it settles on your skin and it doesn't let the moisture from your skin escape out. So it kind of retains the moisture and makes your skin look a little bit healthy, glowy and fresh, and it doesn't look dry on the skin. And another thing why a lot of people like it is, like I mentioned, it fills in the pores, it kind of evens out the skin and fills in all that, lines and stuff. It photographs really well, it doesn't have any flashback, and it looks really good in photography. And another reason why a lot of people like this is because it can be a long wearing foundation as well. Anything silicone based paired up with a silicone based primer is the best if you want to make your foundation long lasting. But today on my skin, I've just used a moisturizer, which I do with pretty much any other foundation. I'm not a primer person. Now coming to the application part, like I said, it is a little bit silicone-y, so I don't prefer using a sponge with this kind of a foundation. So I prefer using a buffing brush. In the beginning, I used this Puna store buffing brush. I didn't really like the way it applied my foundation. I found that it made it a little bit streaky because it's not very dense and the bristles are not like tightly packed. So I went ahead with this other brush which I got from Amazon. It's actually part of like a brush set, and I used this one and I found that this applied the foundation really well and it was really easy to blend it out. Before I mention who I would recommend this foundation to, I would like to give a little bit heads up about like the skin type or the preparation you should do for your skin. Like, I have been testing this foundation out, so every time I test it out, my skin is a little different. Like the previous time I tested it out, my skin was really nice. It was very healthy, it was not dry, and it was moisturized really well. So it didn't cling on to any dry patches. It looked really nice and it didn't cake up. But today I can see that around my hairline, my skin is a little bit dry, which I'm not sure why. So it's kind of caking up on this part and it looks a little messy like that. And I also have these lines on my forehead, and usually most of the foundations try to settle into those lines, and even this foundation is no different. It's kind of like caking up and messing up around, you know, most of my line areas. But because I'm reviewing this product, I have to look at everything with a hawk eye. It doesn't look bad, but it is a little bit cakey on my skin as well. Now coming to how much of product you would need and the coverage of this foundation, I think that you need about like 2 full pumps of this product for your entire face and neck, and with that you would get a medium coverage. Now coming to the buildability of this foundation, I prefer to keep it medium coverage. And coming to if you have to set this foundation, I think if you don't want it to move around and stay in place, you have to set it. I didn't set it today. I just don't want to set my foundation. Now coming to the finish that it gives an amazing natural finish on the skin. And with this foundation, I don't even have to use a highlighter or anything of that sort. It just looks glowy and amazing on the skin. Now coming to the longevity of this foundation, I feel like it is very long wearing. It lasts on my skin for about 8 hours, which I don't wear foundations above that time period. I don't wear it for a longer period of time. I just tested it out for about 6 to 8 hours and it stayed pretty well on my skin, and it didn't oxidize as well. If you do have oily skin, it might fade away in certain places and move around. So that is the reason you have to set it with a good powder. Even then, I think it would fade away a little bit. Coming to the skin type that I would recommend this foundation for, I think this foundation is suitable for all skin types. But if you do have normal to dry skin, I would recommend like exfoliating your skin really well and using a very good moisturizer underneath it to get the 100% out of this foundation. Also, the weather conditions I would recommend this for is definitely when it is a little more cooler and not very humid. If it's going to be humid and you have oily skin, I don't know how that combination is going to work. But if you have normal or dry skin, I think you can use this foundation year round. Now coming to if I would recommend this foundation to you guys, I would personally recommend this foundation. I do really like it. Now in terms of if I had to do the best and worst foundations and if I had to rank this foundation, I think this would rank next after my Milani foundation. I have my heart on that foundation. I really like Milani 2-in-1 Conceal and Perfect foundation. It's my personal favorite, but this would rank right after that, and I really like this, and I'm so glad that I got to try this foundation out, and I'm so glad you guys actually recommended this foundation to me. You guys are the best. I mean, you come up with the best product suggestions, and I often end up like not regretting it at all. So I'm really glad that I tried this foundation out. Now in terms of price point, do I think it's too pricey or do I think it's affordable? I mean, affordability is different for different people. For me, I think it's a good price point. So that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Do leave any future video requests in the comment section down below and I shall film it for you guys. Don't forget to like this video and also subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.